Wherever you at, wherever you at in this world, listen up. Yo, I spit this for my family, the people, the earth. And we've been at this a long time now, digging the dirt. I mean, like putting in work. Forget the friction. We were brought here right now for a reason.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 34 of In a Good Way podcast. This episode's gonna be, I was really just gonna make a video about talking. Something I've been experiencing a ton of, dreams, right? Very vivid dreams. I guess this episode's gonna be more. If you're watching my channel, you're probably already, pretty tapped in. So hopefully you don't get too weirded out. If you're new to it, maybe you'll experience it later, right? So it's gonna be more that. I wouldn't know if to call it like an advanced kind of thing, because I don't know what that really means spiritually, right? But it's just gonna be something very out there, right? Just fair warning. So if you're not used to, if the most basic thing still freaks you out, then this is probably not gonna be for you. But then again, maybe it is. You could watch it and you could decide. But anyways, the main reason I'm actually making this video, which I'm gonna call As Above So Below, is because even recently, like I was able to find some kind of closure in some dreams, right, that I've been having, very vivid, and then they were attached to premonitions. So that's what makes when I have dreams stand out more, right, than just your average dream, because it's connected to something that translates to the physical, like to show me, well, if this part of the dream was true, then how could this other part not be? So it lets me feel like one of the dreams that I had, for example, it felt realer than this life, right? Which is kind of scary sometimes, because then you get too attached to it, and it kind of like you even feel, if it was a hurt, like something painful, then you feel it. But let me just backtrack real quick. So anyways, I had done this podcast episode, I think it was episode 10. The first time I interviewed Ana Montañez. So I don't know if we talked about it in that one, or if we talked about it, I then interviewed her not too long ago. I forgot what episode it was. Probably somewhere in the late 20 episodes or something like that, right? But I interviewed her again, and she mentioned to me how, I don't know if it was her or one of her friends that experienced that they resolved something in the spirit world, and then it resolved in this physical world, right? And I forgot if I mentioned it in the episode, but I have experienced that, right? I had experienced that before. And so I've been experiencing that a lot lately, right? Like, I had actually already made kind of this video, but in a shorter version than what I'm planning to make it right now. And there was someone that even I felt like had ghosted me, right? So in the dream, it was like we were cool. So, and there were these things. I felt like there were messages for her, but, I was being prideful, and I was kind of being pushed, like, and I felt like it was a test, right? Before, I wouldn't care, right? I had zero ego. Whatever they would show me, I'll deliver the message. However someone takes it, they take it or not, or I'll make a video about it, and whoever receives the message, it was meant for them, or if not, then whatever, right? So I felt like it was a test. It was more for me an opportunity, right? Because whenever we get these things, they're an opportunity to see what you'll do with it, right? I've given that example before about how I always felt the reason the spirit world used me so much was because I would listen, right? Like a manager having 2 employees, you tell this one, hey, can you go do this? Or even a kid, you have your kid that you tell something to, and they're dead on it, right? And then there's the other kid that's like, or, oh, well, whatever, or something, gives a little hissy fit every time you tell them to do something. As a parent, you'd probably build more affection towards this kid that does things. And then later on, this kid's going to be like, oh, well, you cared for him more. Nah, it's just this one's obedient. Like, damn, why would I entrust you? Let's say there's something important, and I'm like, man, hey, son, you got to go, deliver the house payment or do something. And this kid, this kid doesn't do nothing. So who are you going to trust, right? So you build the trust with this kid. Hey, this is the kid that listens. You still love them. They're both your kids, but this one listens. So I'm going to use this one, right? So that's kind of what I felt, if I already said that you heard this before, then, I don't mean to sound redundant, but this, just in case you're hearing this for the first time, that's kind of how I view it, right? Or why I keep getting messages. So I felt like even this was a test. It wasn't about me. It almost felt like this person too, like I've noticed there's a recurring person in the dream. So I felt like maybe it's a relative of theirs or someone they knew or know from the spirit world trying to get their attention, right? And so I messaged him. I think it had been 2 years or something. I was like, hey, I know you ignored me last time I messaged you. But, whatever. I had this dream. This is what it was. And even in the dream, I gave them a hug. Or we gave each other like this long hug. So it was weird to me. That's what stood out too. Like I was like, wow, damn, we were cool in this dream. Maybe that was the closure. Just to not have any resentment towards anybody. Because I feel like that's what's been happening. A lot of cleaning house has been going on, right? A lot of closures. A lot of, and it translated into this world. That's why the as above, so below. But I'll explain that right now. So, I gave this person a message. And then they were like, oh, I wasn't trying to ignore you. Like, it's just, what do you say to something like that? And so I said, okay, that's fair, right? Like, obviously I could have been like, wow, you could still say something, but it's fine. I was like, all right, that's fair. Fine, I get it. Like, not everybody might get that, right? Maybe it would be weird for somebody, but it's not like it was my first time messaging this person. So it wasn't like, okay, just some weirdo, like, hey, I had a dream about you or something like that, right? But it's fine, right? I took it. I said, okay, cool. And then that was that, right? Then I remembered some other things from the dream. I was like, okay, this and this happened. And then, they said something. And then that was it. And I was like, well, cool. I was like, well, thanks for responding this time. I left it at that, right? But I don't know why. I don't know, whatever. But I looked at it like as a test. Like whoever was trying to come through to them, maybe. And, I don't know. Because there's so many variables to these dreams, right? Like, at this point, I've dreamed things where I see it like it's me, but it's really someone else. But this person, like, I don't know. I've had a lot of dreams with them already. And so, I let them know that before. And that's why, again, I say, like, when they ignored me, I was like, you know what? So that's why, whatever. And I hadn't messaged them, like, in 2 years. And then this dream, I don't know, it just kind of was pushing at me. So, and like I said, there's some recurring person in there. So I felt like, okay. But anyways, that sealed that, right? There was some kind of closure with that. And so then after that, before there's been people that I had animosity towards, and I forgave them in the dream. And I let them know, like, hey, well, you made your choice. You did this. Like, I'm cool with it. Like, almost like I wish you all the best. And when I woke up, it was like an instant relief. I felt like, oh, wow, like this, like, wow, that's amazing. And so I had never thought about the as above, so below thing like that until now. Because recently, too, like the anniversary. So this is the main reason I wanted to make this video originally. But it was like, recently, I had a dream about my brother that passed away. And I saw a lot of people reacted to my video that I made, the podcast episode about losing a loved one, right? So I had mentioned to someone that commented on there that I was going to make this video. So that's why I was like, okay, I said I'm going to make it. Let me make it. And so, I've already talked about how my brother passed away. For some reason, I don't feel like mentioning it now. Like, you could see, like, I think I have a video of why I started the podcast that you could search for, or I think in that losing a loved one episode, maybe it was 31, I don't know, but I think I might have mentioned how he passed away, or I've mentioned it like in tons of episodes. So, if you guys already know, if not, then whatever. But in the dream, I was upset with him. When I woke up, I felt like it probably had to do with that, because the anniversary is coming up. It was a lot deeper. Some things I'm not going to share because they are personal, but there's been a lot of significance, right? And so in the dream, I was kind of like talking crap to him. But then in the dream, I realized, like, if I die right now, I have to make this right. So in the dream, that felt realer. Like, that was real life. Not just at that moment, but even after I woke up, I still felt like that was the real life, right? And so, you know, so I walk over to him. He's, we're in the same room. He's sitting in a chair. I walk over to him. I tell him, like, I look at him and I tell him, I love you. I give him a kiss on the head. I give him the biggest hug. And it was weird because, he was my oldest brother. And as I'm hugging him, I remember even in the dream, I was thinking, like, I always thought of him like a little brother, which was weird. I really don't get what that was about. Or maybe I do, who knows, right? Maybe subconsciously I do. But whatever. So then I go to the living room and my dog's there, of course. Like, my dog, I've made so many comments about my astral traveling dog, and there she was again, right? Like, she is something amazing, right? I've made so many videos about her. So if you guys haven't heard about her, she astral travels. I've never had a dog that did that. She already turned, in one of the dreams, she turned into someone and she showed me who she was. It translated to the physical. So I believe her. Like, I believe her now. Even more so, right? Even being in that dream with my brother, right? And so after I woke up, it took me a while. It didn't click right away. And then all of a sudden it hit me like, oh, wait, what? He's gone. Like, and I had to snap back into it. Like, to this reality, because I felt all the pain at once. I was like, oh man, like all of a sudden everything came rushing, like the shock of, wait, what? Wait a second, he's gone. Like, because that felt realer than this world. You know what I mean? And that's why I felt my dog was in there too. Like, she helps me stay balanced, right? So all these things happen for a reason, right? I think maybe because of the way he had passed, maybe subconsciously, because I had never said that I had any kind of anger towards him. Like, I don't know, I would have felt like an a-hole to say that. So I never had said that. But maybe subconsciously there was a part of me that was angry. And so I think it represented that. And it took all these years, because this is the 4th year anniversary, to get that closure. But I felt that. Because even as, I don't know, anyone could speak for however they speak, but as a man, can't remember if I ever went up to my brother. I don't think I have. Went up to my brother and been like, I love you. Like, straight up like that. Like, it's easier to tell a woman, like, I know I've told my mom that. I've told, or whatever. If you're in a relationship, you told people that. But to tell him straight out like that in those words, I don't think I had ever told. So it gave me the chance to say that as well. And have that, right? Like, you don't go up to, usually like to another man and give him a big hug and a kiss on the head and tell him that. So it was important from that aspect, right? I'm able to talk about it now, like, because I guess it's been a couple days, so I've had the chance to, and all these other things have happened, right? But so I was talking about the closure thing, right? So, I've been getting, and there was even someone else that, so I mean, I don't know, sometimes I feel like they watch things I post, but even that, there was someone that I had blocked off, right? But they wanted to talk, and all of a sudden I was open to that, right? I was like, but even in the dream, they didn't know how to talk, right? They couldn't talk, and I was like, dude, like, spit it out. Like, just spit it out. But at least there, it was like, I gave the chance, right? I was open to it. Like, you got something to say, just say it, right? Like, but they were like, they couldn't just spit it out. So even in the dream, I was like, well, there it is. Like, dude, like, how long does it take you to spit something out? Like, you know what I mean? And in the dream, understanding, being compassionate, but it's like having the compassion that no matter what that person told me, I was going to be cool with it. No matter what it was. That's just how I'm built. I understand. That doesn't mean, so in a way, it's like they came to me in this dream looking like whatever they had to get out, they had to get out. But at the same time, like, I can't just be right there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to spit it out, spit it out. At some point, you got to put on your big girl pants or, whatever. If you're a man, then put on your big boy pants. But, this person I was dealing with obviously was a woman that needed to say something that I had blocked off. But she came to me in the dream. It looked like she really needed to talk. I finally accepted, because for years I was dreaming, like, I was like, nope. nope. And finally, I was open to it, but they just couldn't spit it out, right? So I was just like, I don't know what that means. Either my dog's telling me like, don't talk about that no more, or something, right? They feel things, stuff like that. So anyways, yeah, it's crazy. Okay. Yeah, it's so crazy when it just happens like, as you're making something and then the dogs or animals start going all crazy. Okay. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah. So anyways, let me go back to the whole as above, so below. Like there is a lot of, things that are connected, right? Just that. See, I think before I was reluctant, even when I started the channel, right? I was very reluctant because I was like, one thing I don't know how to do is teach people. Like, I don't have that, like, oh, this is how you meditate. This is how you this or that. But I know that sharing my stories, people always relate to it, right? There's always at least someone, whether they message. Sometimes I won't get a comment on a video I posted, but they'll, message me in an email. I guess they'll see. Or it might be someone that I know, so they'll message me, on another social media and tell me this and that, right? So somehow, some way, I always see that, especially when I'm reluctant to put up a message, someone gets something out of it. But one of the reasons I was reluctant at first was because I don't know how to teach. Like, I don't even know how to teach someone to do that. All I know is maybe I can share this. If you're having that opportunity to find closure in a dream, which to me is like, obviously I don't call them a dream. To me, that's like your real body. And especially for me, I feel a lot more sometimes in this other higher realm or whatever, 5D or whatever D it is, right? Like, like 5D, 6D, 7D, you know what I mean? Like all the way to whatever D, they say like, I think in the native cultures for my people, there were these 13 dimensions or levels or this or that, or there's so many things about that, right? So anyways, whatever dimension you're in, you could find closure there, and it'll translate to this one, like as above, so below, right? I think when I had that light bulb moment, I was like, wow, this is like the epitome of as above, so below, right? Also, this happened. So I think with that said, I'll just say, like, if you're ever having these experiences and you have the opportunity, just like when I interviewed Ana Montañez, how she shared that either about herself or her friend. I apologize for not remembering, but it was one of the two that they found closure, and I was like, yeah, I've experienced that, right? So if it is an opportunity, if you can't do it in the physical world, because sometimes we can't. Our ego is just too strong, or we feel too hurt by somebody here in this world, and it drags us down. It's like carrying a huge weight. And the best way to do it is that's a gift, right? If they're giving you that gift of forgiving someone in the spiritual world, take it and run with it. You know what I mean? Because that's, it's a gift, right? Like, because I wasn't capable of doing that in this physical world, but they gave me this in the spirit world. And then luckily sometimes when they push me in the spirit world, it will translate to, I'll take the step to do it in the physical world. Because I'm like, all right, they made it easy for me. They're showing me in the spirit world, and I always listen. So I'm like, all right, fine. Like, I'll do it. But sometimes it is up to other people or stuff like that, as I mentioned, right? So just in closing, because I didn't want to make this too long to begin with, another thing I've experienced, and I talked about, recently, like just today, right? Someone messaged me that they had a dream, and this is where it's going to get into something else, so I had mentioned to someone messaged me that they had a dream that me and them, we were flying, right? That we were flying and we were all happy and people were looking at us all weird, but we didn't care. We're like, damn, we're flying around. And I told them that's funny because yesterday, so they had that dream last night, and yesterday I was sitting and I was thinking, like, I know I could fly. So why don't we do it or whatever? Only because of everything I've seen in this world. You know how when some people believe this is like some kind of matrix, whether it's a matrix or not, just the way I see things now, I understand. It's like we are creating this reality, right? We create this reality. So if we are creating this reality, then I should be able to fly. I was just sitting there and my mind just started going, and I really thought that. And then for someone to dream that blew my mind. But it wasn't the first time that had happened. Years ago, I want to say maybe 2017, 2018, I went to where I would go pray on this hill, and I sat there for hours. I think it must have been at least 3 to 4 hours I was sitting there, right? And I was like, I'm not moving here until I shapeshift. So if this is freaky for you, isn't that it's just, that's part of native culture. Like, if there's so many stories about shapeshifting. I've heard things from elders, which I'm not going to share because obviously it was a personal stories, but I just heard the craziest thing outside. I don't know what it was. But anyways, I don't know, it was weird. It was either like wings flapping, I heard, or like fireworks. Like, it sounded like something like that, but whatever. That's crazy, huh? So anyways, I was sitting, maybe I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I already started. So anyways, I was sitting on this hill, and I was like, I'm not gonna move here till I do it, right? Because like I said, it's not something, they've even put it in movies. I remember that movie Thunderheart where, I forgot his name. I think it was Jimmy, and then he shapeshifts into a deer. You know what I mean? All that stuff, right? So I was like, I'm not gonna move from here until I do it. Later on that night, you know, and I think back then, like, I wouldn't have my phone, or I wouldn't get reception up in this hill or whatever. Or I would leave my phone purposely because I was going up to pray, right? So I remember once I got down from the hill, someone messaged me and they were like, hey, I had this craziest dream that, you know, you were shapeshifting. I had this dream you were shapeshifting into this, into that, into whatever. And I was like, what the? Like, my whole point to this is like, regardless how you see it, how were we connected with these people, right? Like, how was something I was really trying to do, whether it was confirmation, like, yeah, this is possible, or it's just like this world, you know, the real World Wide Web, right? Like, it's funny because just today, a little side note, I was watching a comedian who made fun of that, how, like, the way we break things down, like www, and it's supposed to mean World Wide Web, but www has 9 syllables, and like World Wide Web only has 3, right? So it's like we make, you know, it's funny, like, oh, we're doing this to make it easier, but it's actually longer, right? I don't know. For me, I found that hysterical, right? Because humans will make things harder, like, on purpose, because it's human nature to make things harder. You know, I wrote a song like that once. I put like a kid in the hook, and he's saying like, life ain't really supposed to be hard. I think we just let life get hard or whatever. But the whole message is like learning from the kid how simple life is supposed to be. So that's what I got from this comedian today, right? I have no idea what that had to do with what I'm talking about, but oh, the World Wide Web. Okay, that's what I was mentioning. So it's like there's this web, right? There is this connection. That's why it's funny. It's like we already have this ability, but then they make it like, oh, computers, because people that were less, I don't know why some people have, but our ancestors had it. I guess they could communicate with everyone. There's already like something you could tap into, because I found it amazing that I would be trying to do something in the physical world, and someone catches that in the spiritual world, right? In the dream state. So we really are all connected, right? Or it's an as above, so below kind of thing, right? That's why I guess that's how it's all tied in. So I just found that amazing that people tapped into that. There was another, oh yeah, I was talking to someone. That one was more personal. But, you know, someone told me, I think that was yesterday, like someone told me something and I was like, oh wow. I was like, yeah, I just dreamed that. So that's crazy. They told me something in the physical world, and I had just had a dream about that the day before, right? So it was pretty interesting. Like, so we are connected, or there's certain people, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, or I'm beginning to open up again, because before it was like that, right? Like I said years ago, when someone had a dream about something I was actually trying to do, and I think I blocked out all these things about life, right? And I get it, right? When you're being positive, negative things are going to come at you. I accept that now on a different level. I guess I'm prepared for it. I think the challenge is becoming all like, not that you're supposed to be all love and light, right? But being all like, boom, like filled with love, when you know people are purposely going to try to douse that. Because I have no clue the human condition, right? I'll make a whole thing, because I know a long time ago, these were the things that were given to me about like the humans in general, how it is supposed to be simple. I think that's why I even wrote a song like that, right? How, like, why don't we get it? Why do humans make things complicated when it is that simple, right? Or it's just like that chain reaction, right? Hurt people, and boom, 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 it just keeps going. You know, but I'm not gonna get into that. Whatever. I think I said everything I wanted to say. Mostly, I just really wanted to make the video about everything that happened with my brother, right? But that, like, the closure, that as above, so below, somehow finding closure. Oh, I'll say this last thing then. Even that I mentioned how a friend that was very close to me passed away. And even that, how everything's all connected. He passed away, like, you know, like in the beginning of January. And when they finally came up with a date, like, for his funeral, it hasn't even passed. Out of all days, his funeral is going to be on the anniversary of my brother's passing. So it was like, to me, it's like, and both of them were very important for different reasons. I'm not going to get into that. But this friend, you know, I've already said it. If anyone has seen anything on a social media I have, or even on YouTube, I think I posted about him or talked about him. But see, it's all connected. It's all connected. You know, the signs. I think someone even, you know, they commented how something led them to that video I made about losing a loved one. And so, yeah, we get all these signs, right? Everything's connected somehow, some way. My friend, I felt like he was trying to come through. I didn't understand what message he was trying to bring me, but out of all days, then someone told me, oh, they finally picked, like, the day of the ceremony or funeral that they're having for him, and it's on, out of all days, it was the anniversary of my brother's passing, right? So it's just a lot of things happening right now. So I'll end it with that. Like I said, I didn't want to make it too long. I got interviews coming up, a few scheduled for this month. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. Thank you to everybody that has been supporting this channel, everyone that has subscribed. Hopefully I could keep being transparent with you guys and open. Like I said, I get it that no matter what, as you're trying to do positive things, you know, negative energies come. I got no, like, that's just people, right? Like, people can't see past, you know, like, you know, I should be probably a whole ball of hate if, you know, if I would have just gone with everything that had happened to me, I would have just been a ball of hate. But, you know, you have to at some point, like, it is a choice, right? It is a choice. So people that choose to go that route and be miserable and make it their goal to, you know, I don't know, just spread hate, then that's a choice, right? So I won't go into that right now. So thank you once again to everybody that's been showing support. And yeah, I'll see you soon with new interviews. Like I said, I have a few scheduled this month, and that's it. All right, peace.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.